In my short time here in St. Louis, I have had 5 iPhones already. I only skipped one generation, the 5S. I had iPhone 1, iPhone 2, 3, 4, and 6. And I am thinking how strange it is that this amazing Apple company has brainwashed me to buy a new phone every 2 years or more frequently, even though my old one is still perfectly fine. My iPhone 5 is great, but I had to have iPhone 6. How many of you know the feeling? Raise your hand, please, or nod your head. Some of you are smarter than I. Thank God we have wise people. But think about it for a moment. We live in a culture of disposable things. There is a new generation TV or new generation phone coming out, and many of us, yours truly included, need to have that new generation toy, and the old one goes to the museum. We are not committed to our cars, to our phones, as we used to be 20, 30, 40 years ago. Joe, you are a car dealer, you know what I'm talking about. But you are part of the problem. My car dealer calls me every 3 years saying, hello, it's time for a new one. For some reason, it is so much easier to come by with new things or new models than it was 20, 30, or 50 years ago. Even the rate of divorce in this country is proof of this hypothesis. You don't want your husband? Get a new model. There is someone better right behind the corner. You don't like your wife? Upgrade it for a new model. You don't like where you live? You can move to a better neighborhood. Just get a credit. Thanks to credit cards, it is so much easier to wash off your hands from any kind of commitment to your phone, to your car, even, unfortunately, to your spouse. When something stops working, we don't fix things anymore. When I was growing up in Poland, when my shoes fell off, we took them and we fixed them. Who is fixing shoes anymore? You throw them away and get a new pair of shoes. We rarely fix things around in this country, do we? We just buy new things. Americans are also among the highest rate of people who change their religion or church. Nowhere else in the world people change religions as often as they do in the good US of A. Most Americans die in a different church that they were born in. Very few Americans remain the same denomination for 10 or 20 years. In the suburbs, it doesn't really matter anymore what denomination church do you go to. It matters which church is closer and which one has better coffee. We do not commit to church, to cars, to phones, to almost anything. We are a generation of quitters. No commitments. Elijah, from the first reading today, was on the very edge of quitting. If you looked carefully into the text from the first book of Kings, Elijah is suicidal. He has had enough. He says, okay, God, that's it. Basta, as Italians will say. Enough. I've had it. I will not run anymore. I'm quitting. Let me give you a background. Elijah is the most wanted man in Israel because he offended a powerful queen, Jezebel. Have you heard about Jezebel? She was the wife of King Ahab in Israel, and she wanted to have her gods on the equal footing with God of Yahweh. And so Elijah, as a powerful prophet of God, was speaking strongly against those new gods, new idols that Jezebel brought with her to Israel. And King Ahab, like most kings with no balls whatsoever, did what his wife wanted him to do. So Queen Jezebel issued an order: whoever catches Elijah will get my eternal gratitude. So everybody is after Elijah. He is exhausted of hiding, of running away, of escaping. So he goes to a desert, sits down and says, God, I'm done, it's over. I'm quitting. Find someone else to speak for you. And he goes to sleep hoping that he will dehydrate sometime soon, hoping that he will not wake up. But this was not God's plan. Sometimes God is like AT&T. You have contract with me for 2 more years. You cannot quit yet. So God sends an angel with bread and water to keep Elijah alive. The angel says to Elijah, this is not your time yet. The journey ahead of you is long. And so eat, drink. This is the food for your journey. It is not your time to quit. It is not your time to quit. Next weekend, Jeannie and Joe will celebrate 50 years of their happy marriage, mostly happy marriage. 50 years, I would guess you've been tempted to quit how many times? 0. You are a smart husband. In any other relationship besides this one, people are tempted to quit often. It's normal. Your husband, your wife can be annoying. It's a part of life. There is no such thing as a perfect husband, as a perfect wife. And so we are tempted to upgrade to a different model or to quit altogether. Why bother, right? She annoys me, he annoys me. We can just walk away from this contract. Our culture has accustomed us to walking away from our commitments. T-Mobile and few other companies are now offering to buy off your old contract. They will pay off your old commitment. They want you to switch so badly that they will pay off your old contract. Everything becomes easier to quit today, and yet some people, like 2 of you, choose to stick together no matter what. In October and September, Sharon and Steve will get married, and in September, Nicole and David will. And as I look at the 4 of you, I'm hoping and praying that you will learn from Jeannie and Joe, and you will learn the art of not quitting, of being stubborn Polish people, even if you're not Polish, of finding strength to say, you know what? I committed to you, and I will not quit this. Even though it would be easier, it would be perhaps more convenient to quit, but I shall not. Marriage is one of those relationships that will challenge you all the way through. And you will need this proverbial water and bread to keep you alive on this long journey. Something can be said about your faith relationship as well. I myself will admit that sometimes when I listen and read and watch things being said about the Catholic Church, I ask myself, why am I still Catholic? How come I still believe in the power and traditions of God as expressed in the Catholic Church? There are many, many good reasons to switch to something else. I could be great Lutheran pastor, I imagine. I would make a good Episcopal as well, perhaps Methodist, maybe Presbyterian. Now, if I become non-denominational, I'll be really rich really soon. So why do we stick by, why do we stubbornly refuse to leave the Catholic Church? Perhaps because we have that sense of commitment, of not being quitters. And even if you did quit 5 weeks ago or 5 years ago, 20 years ago, something has brought you back. That voice of the angel in your head saying, it ain't your time yet. You shall not quit. Angel brought to Elijah bread and water, and the angel said, the journey is long. You need strength to go on this journey. Eat and drink. We need strength on the journey of our life, on the journey of your marriage, on the journey of your faith, on the journey even with paying off the mortgage of your house. All these journeys can be exhausting and tiring. And as Catholics, we are extremely blessed to have food for the journey. Now notice that angel didn't say to Elijah, listen Elijah, get up. And when you get to the end of the journey, I will get you water and bread. It wasn't like that. The angel says, eat and drink now so you have strength for the journey. That's why you come to Holy Communion weekend after weekend, not because you have reached the end of your journey, not because you have become perfect and holy already, but because you need that food for the journey. As Catholics, we don't believe that the bread and the wine we receive is a reward for a good, perfect life. This is not a Catholic teaching. As Catholics, we believe that the angels of God bring us bread and wine as the food for the journey. Jesus said, I am the bread of life. Whoever eats of this bread will never die. His commitments will never die. We need spiritual strength to remain strong in our commitments to our spouses, to our church, and to ourselves as well. Quitting is not what we Catholics do. Quitting is not what we Poles do. Quitting is not a word in the vocabulary of a believer. Angels of God are with us. They feed us the bread and wine every time you come to church. Eat, drink, and if you are going through a dark moment of your life, if you are going through a night, troubling time in your relationship with God, with your spouse, with yourself, there is food for the journey. Don't stay away because someone told you you are not perfect yet. Come because you are not perfect. Come because you are tired. Come because you need strength for the journey. Amen.